Yo, what's up? The Enlisted update hype train keeps on going, and today we reached a new destination, literally the new map for the upcoming update. Yes, the new map is called Wald, meaning forest in German. Which Wald, you ask? Well, the forest of Brandenburg. Brandenburg being the most east central Germany part of Germany. Now, this is the province where Berlin is located in. Berlin standing exactly in the center of Brandenburg. And the eastern parts of Brandenburg, depicted here by these forest areas, were the last area that defended Berlin from the Soviets. Now, these areas weren't too much of help in terms of defense, but still, fights took place there. And we can enjoy these fights now and Enlisted very soon, in a very few weeks, I assume. Now, let's take a look at this map. First of all, the first impression of these pictures, and I'm going to analyze everyone in detail right now, is that Enlisted finally is understanding that you need very thick forests, because the forests in Enlisted were never really thick and never felt like real forests, because they were just basically a more or less flat surface and then trees placed in a too small frequency. And that's why they looked and felt very artificial. They didn't feel real. If you play any forest map in Held Loose, for example, they all feel real because you have a very realistic proper density of trees. This seems to be much better now. This seems to be much better now because you have lots of grass and flowers, very cool. You have lots of bushes. You have lots of shadowy and sunny areas, as in a real forest. Whereas if you don't have enough forests, if you don't have enough trees and bushes in your forest, you will get too many sunny areas and it doesn't look realistic. So this is really cool. Also lots of real small elevated parts, meaning you can lie your soldiers down and crawl around and actually be tactical and forward thinking and not just bum rush as usually done in Enlisted. Yeah, so how is this map going to be placed? First, the beginning of the map, the first objective is going to be on the outside area within the forest. So nice, you fight in a forest. Then there's going to be a fortified area with bunkers and these trenches. And eventually, after you reach this fortified area, which also has some open areas, you will reach a little village. Now this village is depicted as 20th century. It is literally 19th century and older. I mean, the battle took place in the middle of 20th century, but the architecture is 19th century. So, which makes it better, because you rather want 19th century architecture, European architecture, than ugly as 20th century architecture. Basically, everything that looks good that you see in Europe right now is from the 19th century or older. Very, very few exceptions from the early 20th century. So yeah, I think this map is going to be great for playing. Very great. First of all, I see lots of new assets. Okay, this bunker I think is quite a new bunker design. If you ever looked at documents and footage, this Enlisted depicts German bunker design very well, especially the interior. And there were a few different standard bunker designs that were copy-pasted by Germany. Everywhere they needed fortifications. And yeah, this looks like one of them. Very well designed. And okay, this is just a forest with... yeah, it looks very nice. Also, you see the typical Mischwald. You see different trees. You see evergreen trees and then the other type, which is also quite standard for Brandenburg. Very nice. Well, I see more evergreen ones than other ones, but still, yeah. And here we have a new type of trench. This looks like a quickly built trench where you just a stably quickly built duck. I guess also protects from flooding and rain if you have these metal walls here. Yeah, I hope they make it even easier to drive over them with an APC or with a tank, because this is one of the most important questions for trench design in Enlisted. Can you drive over the trenches actually? So yeah, and here this looks exactly like the Zelo map, like the Verbi Station map. Though I guess it won't be just a complete open area. I guess the fighting area will be partially in the forest. So yeah, this is going to be quite cool. You can do tank rushes here in the open, you can do infantry rushes in the forest, or very sneaky tank rushes through the forest. And as it was verified in the chat, you have a few PaK 40s positioned on the map, and they're usable actually. So we finally have usable structures on the map, which was extremely rare so far. So far the only ones I can remember that you can use are some machine guns in Stalingrad. And that's it. Besides that, you have lots of optical stuff. I know there are anti-air guns in Rezhev, but no one can use them. But yep, finally you can use some nice anti-tank guns on these maps. This is gonna be very fun. Everyone loves anti-tank guns. No one loves building them, but everyone loves playing them. So yeah, very good. Also realistic, because these areas were spammed with the anti-tank guns. Because yeah, you expected multiple thousand Soviet tanks rolling over you. Yeah, here we have another one. Very nice. Very nice. Yep, yeah, very good. This looks quite like, it looks quite close to the railway bridge or river crossing map, which has very negative associations for many players because they're quite the annoying maps to play. But I hope these two maps will become rarer and this map will be much more common now. Also very beautiful village part actually. Here you have different types of trees, yeah. You have your nice, you have a nice big church. You have a nice, yeah, city. Yeah, very good, very cool looking, and most importantly, quite distinct architecture. It's important to not copy paste. Now, I'm not sure whether this isn't too similar to the church in France, in the Normandy maps we have. It would be very important that the design is different, because otherwise it will feel too cheap and not immersive, because obviously Eastern German churches look completely different than Western French churches. But yeah, now regarding the frequency of the map, once it's released, it's gonna be quite common, and after a few weeks it will be like other maps too. And where you're playing this, it counts as a Berlin map. All the Zilo Heights maps also count as Berlin maps, Battle of Berlin maps. So this will be a high BR map, meaning if you have BR 3, 4, or 5 armies equipped, you can get into this map. Which makes sense, because obviously you wouldn't, a pure 1945 map doesn't make sense to be played as an early war map. If Enlisted keeps the system where maps are not available for everyone, or for all BRs. Yeah, and here we have a nice little, yep, this looks quite good. You have a nice road with lots of wreckages, with rocks, and you can just spam tanks over everywhere. And here's one thing I noticed people highly underestimate. People automatically always pick the strongest, biggest, heaviest tank they can for high BR, but it's actually smart to have also a small, light, fast tank. Because the small, light, fast tanks in many situations can deal more damage, can be more useful than the heavy, slow tanks. And for example, a King Tiger would be great for driving through this area. But a Panzer IIIN would be great for driving through the forest, for example. Now you see the situation? And this is also basically the highest skill level of tanking, if you can use small, light tanks very skillfully, mobilely, and not get one-shot by the big, way superior tanks, and actually succeed with them. Yeah, so yeah, like this is going to be very interesting. And of course, APCs also would rather drive through the forest and not here, because obviously every good player is going to spam anti-tank mines on these roads. Alright, that's it. This is the new map. Can't wait to play it. I guess we will get it in, could be actually in roughly 2 weeks, maybe even less. The test server should be open soon. If the test server is open this week, we can even expect the update next week. So yeah, this is going to be definitely great. And I think later today I can even show you, make you a video about the new weapons in the Tech Tree, because there are lots of fancy stuff. There's lots of fancy stuff. Silenced weapons in the Tech Tree. Jagdpanthers for Germany in the Tech Tree. Yeah. And very strong planes for Japan, and also other goodies. So stay tuned. And of course, like this video and subscribe if you're new, and share it with every other Enlisted player you know, so they are all up to date and know what's going on, because today we're going to have much more fun new maps in Enlisted. Until soon.